Good evening. It's Thursday the 20th of August, and on a short I'm also going to post about the same time this one goes out. I'll explain that my aspiration this week of doing 4 days and 4 casinos hasn't quite worked out as I'd anticipated. So what I've done again is I recorded a session, or the beginning of a session, played at my local pub, the Woodman, on the Redtooth Tournament program, but recorded about sort of 4 orbits whilst the blinds were 100 big blinds and then 50 big blinds, just to talk through my repeatable thought process and ideas for hands that I played and hands that I folded, and also to try to pick up on a few little nuances where I can, related to shorter stack play. Now normally I buy in for 200 big blinds, so I'm then having to adjust to players around the table who have actually got shorter stacks than me. But obviously in these sorts of formats you start off with a relatively short stack, maximum 100 big blinds anyway, so it's actually quite good practice for that sort of approach. Anyway, here is the evening as it unfolded. So here we go. I pick up ace of spades, 2 of hearts on the button on the first hand. There's a raise early on, so this is an insta fold. Nothing to do here, just fold. Then I go on to the cutoff and I pick up more rubbish. 3-4 off, fold. Next hand becomes a little bit more interesting. I'm on the hijack and I pick up black kings. As she checks to me, we're 5,000 deep, the blinds are 25-50, so I actually go 6x here. I raise to 300. There's a bit of an umming and ahhing on my left hand side, but my mate on the button, Ed, he's doing his old card flicking thing, shuffling backwards and forwards. So he's thinking he would actually 3-bet me here if he was top of range, and he thinks and he puts in a call. Now I would range him here on pocket pairs. He's probably got some suited Broadways or suited ace-x, something like that, I would guess. The big blind, another red, he gets out of the way, which is unusual. So we go heads up, I'm out of position. There's nearly 700 in the pot, and we got something like 4 or 7 behind, and it comes down 9 of clubs, 8 of hearts, 7 of diamonds. I'm going to range check here, even though we're quite short. I could bet out and go bet, but I think I might get stabbed, which I don't. It's quite a quick check back by Ed. The ace of spades then comes on the turn. My hand slightly devalued and probably only thin value at max, and I'm actually going to check back here. That would be my default on the ace turn. See if he will actually stab now and get some more information from the size we stab. He checks back again quickly. Then there's a jack of spades on the river. I am going to go for some value here. I'm going to target maybe a jack and underpair to the ace, or a 9x, something like that. I think he might have been a bit more aggressive on the turn, so I only go to 50 to try and get a call from that. And lo and behold, he puts in the call, and he's got ace queen off. Trap me. So a couple of observations where I had those pocket kings and I get flatted on the button by Ed. When the flop comes down, that 987, I think I do have 2 options here. Really, the first one is to just go bet with my thick value. There's 700 odd in the pot. So we've got about, what's that, about 4-7 behind. It's early on, so the stack to pot ratio is about 8. I can sort of bet maybe a half pot, aim to get a call from an underpair or a draw, and then go just over pot, and then try and stack him on the river. But because it was so wet and draw heavy, probably interconnecting with his range pretty well, I thought a check was good because I would get some more information around his actual range and hand strength depending on the bet size, which I could then either check raise if it was maybe small, or just call if it was large with my thick value hand. The ace though on the turn sort of changes the context there quite a bit. I could have come out and bet, maybe gone for 2 streets of value, but you know, it's a sort of hand that might have actually been checked back with the ace. Is there any reason for me to put some more money in the pot at this stage? Well, again, it's a similar thing. Maybe on the turn, Ed would actually go and stab again, give me some more information around his bet size. I think if he'd stabbed even, you know, fairly large, I would have called another street. So the fact that I actually went for thin value on the river there and then got called, I think he probably got some more. He could have got some more value out of me. If I was in his position with ace queen off there, I would have undoubtedly 3-bet the majority of occasions. I think my hand strength here, I want to isolate that player. I want to play them heads up in position. Ace queen off is a pretty strong hand there. It's a wide configuration. Naturally, I would have 4-bet him in this particular situation, but I think, you know, flatting there, I would possibly flat if I was up against a really good reg or a pro on my right hand side, and I've got a couple of recreational players maybe in the blinds who actually I want to try to keep in the pot rather than isolate a really decent player on my right hand side. So I might have actually flatted in that particular situation and would do generally with my sort of medium strength hands and have a very polarized 3-bet range. So the top of my range plus some bluffs. Against most players, I'm going linear with my 3-bets in position. So I thought it was actually quite a nice little hand there. A number of dynamics going on. He was clearly playing quite trappy. Maybe he wanted to do what I wanted to do, which was to actually bring some of the other players into the pot with a fairly decent hand that he had. But I think in the end, I probably paid him off as small amount as I could have done there. So actually, I thought I got away with that pretty well.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right, mate.
Next stand up, quick fold.
My aspiration is...
Folding hand, I've got Queen of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds here. I'm in the big blind. Now there's an early position raise and fold.
You set me on your way, don't worry.
Small blind, Ace of Diamonds, 3 of Diamonds. Now, under normal circumstances, this is really a fold here from the small blind. There's an early position raise. I think they've gone about 150 odd, something like that. And I'm actually, the player on the left my side is not particularly aggressive. So I thought it's one of those situations where I've got pretty good odds to call. Okay, I'm going to be out of position to everybody, but I could potentially here stack a number of players in the table if I hit a good ace high flush. But it comes down King of Spades, Queen of Clubs and a 10 of Diamonds. There's a bet, and then I think there's a raise, a min raise. I'm just okay, you know, I've got a gut shot, backdoor flush draw, but I'm going to get out of the way. Fold. Next stand up is a raise fold. And there's a lot of folding I was doing tonight, which is quite good. I've got 5-4 suited here, and what happens is I'm actually in the hijack, and there's a limp that happens, and then a raise. And I'm going, can I just call this? If I was actually deeper, I would have 3-bet him, but not, so I just got out of the way. And there's another fold with some more rubbish, 7-3 off. And so yeah, I always stay pretty disciplined generally myself in terms of the hands that I actually play. I don't play. So there's another fold goes in. And yeah, another fold, 10-7 off. Now on the big blind, I pick up King 6 off. And there's a few limps. I think I'm going to go big blind special here.
That's how the document.
I'm in an R-ing down the end of the table. There's first limp. Another limp. and then a raise, so instant fold.
Well-known drug cheats.
3-2 off, fold.
You talk a lot to Mark, so I reckon your rec's all good.
No.
I'm now the dealer here. I've got King 10 of clubs. Really nice hand.
Sorry?
There's a limp, there's an over limp, and so here I'm going to ISO. Normally if I'm deep I'm going to go 8x here, but because we are a little bit more shallow I actually go 700.
Yeah, no, I did some first aid and then they said, you're really good at this, maybe you should do...
All of the other players fold, but the original limp raiser, who is actually quite a passive player, he's only really got a limp first in range, decides to call.
That's quite good.
So the pot is nearly
It is a good qualification to have.
1600 here,
Very handy.
and it does come down King of Hearts, 7 of Diamonds and 4 of Hearts, and he just folds. So well ahead, did what I needed. Get ace 4 off here on the cut off. Considering the table I might open this, it's my button opening range, but there's a limp, so I fold. And then I get pick up another poor hand here. Again, instant fold. Again, here we go. Ace 8 off, fold. And Jack 10 off here, early position, insta fold.
Well, I do occasionally, but I mean, other than that... I'll start commenting on you.
So I'm on the button here, and I've got King 3 off. And fortunately, there are 2 limpers in front of me, so I don't have to actually do anything. I just check the hand to see what happens. I'm going to be second to act, and the flop comes down. Jack of Hearts, 9 of Spades, 7 of Spades. I've got some potential here, but I'm just going to check and see what happens. It all checks back, and then the turn comes a 10 of clubs, so I actually get a gut shot here. But then the guy who's on the cutoff comes out and he bets 600 here, so it's just a fold.
It could have been dull as dishwater, but he makes it.
Next hand I'll pick up Queen 10 of Hearts. Now this is actually quite an interesting spot because I'm in the small blind, and the guy who's actually on the cutoff here, he's quite a loose player, and he only opens up 400. And I'm thinking here that this is a really, really good spot. If I was deeper, I would actually 3-bet this guy here to about 2,000, but too short, too shallow, fold. Another fold with rubbish when it comes around to me.
Oh, my 9-4 suited is it? Well, you gone 600?
And here, I'm waiting for some action on my right-hand side. There's another fold. Comes around to me, and there's another fold. So here in this hand, I actually pick up Ace 4 suited, and it folds around to me.
What was it you said?
And so I actually raise it up. The blinds are 2,400, so I actually raise it up to 1,100 here. It's quite shallow, but it's still quite a decent hand here. It's got the back door. Straight potential, gut shots, got the overcards, got a flush draw, all of that sort of good stuff going on. And the guy in the big blind, unsurprisingly, calls. So that puts us with about 2,200 in the pot, and I've got about 3,000 behind. And the flop actually comes down Jack of Diamonds, 5 of Spades, and the 2 of Hearts. So I've actually got some gut shot equity here. The problem is like, how do I bluff this hand, or do I just play it for showdown? So what I do is I actually bet pretty small here. I only go for about 600 odd, I think it was, which means that I actually can keep an overbet behind me to allow me to consider my bluff potential if I don't actually hit a hand or an ace. It's only a jack high flop, so I've got an opportunity of folding him out, but actually he then folds to my c bet, so that was actually quite a good position to be in. And then finally on that ace 4 spades hand, again quite an interesting sort of dynamic about stack sizes. With my raise first in there to 1,100, that puts about 2,200 into the pot, and we were about 5,000 deep. So the thing is that I've actually got a very low equity hand. I have got, you know, the overcard with the ace as well. The question is, am I actually going to get this particular villain to fold a jack, which was the high card on the flop? Possibly, but I would like to be a lot deeper in order to do that, which is why I actually went quite small there on the flop, because I wanted to give myself enough SPR to make a decision as to whether to jam on the turn if it was a brick, or maybe even check back and then see whether or not, if he bet out on the river, and if he didn't, I'd assume he was pretty well capped, which would mean that I could actually potentially jam, or depending if it was an overcard to the jack or something like that, I might go a bit smaller to try to actually fold the rest of his range. So it's actually quite an interesting spot there for low effective stacks and low SPRs, where it is often really difficult to get a player to fold a top pair because it's so shallow. You really do not have the stack depth behind you to really put pressure on. So you have to try some other lines, maybe fold his, aim to fold his under pairs with bluffs, or just try to get him to fold on the turn if he's checked back to you again on the turn. So an interesting spot.